Did you see what Tulsi Gabbard had to say today from the White House press room about the coup d'etat, which I agree with 100%. Here's the question. What do you think is going to come of it? Do you think anything will come of it? Do you think you're going to see John Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Comey, any of them perp walked? And if we don't, what is that going to do to the republic? What is that going to do to the credibility of the rule of law? What is that going to do to MAGA supporters, patriots? Are there multiple objectives here? What are they? Let's talk to Leo Holman about that tonight. Also, what do you make of alligator Alcatraz? Aren't there calls for that kind of thing to be duplicated in multiple states? Is there a problem that could arise there with, I don't know, dehumanizing people? I know, I'm not going soft on you, folks. I'm not going soft on you. I'm using common sense. I'm using common sense because I know that if we're not careful on the right, what we do on the right sets the standard to be used as justification by the left. So what are some of my concerns when it comes to things like Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz? I want to talk to Leo Holman about some of these things. Then we're going to be joined by Patrick Wood, because there is a new, if you go to technocracy.news, there's a brand new plan out now. A brand new plan out on America's AI. Here it is. Here's a new website. There's even a new website out. But there's a plan out as well that is going to advance AI very, very, very quickly. Here is the plan. Winning the Race, America's AI Action Plan. We're going to get into this tonight in detail with Patrick Wood. They're adding a $10 billion AI data center here in the Midsouth. We've already got Elon Musk. Now Google's going to add reportedly a $10 billion data plan. What about our infrastructure, our power grid? What's in this Washington plan, this executive office of the President of the United States, July 2025, just out. Probably one of the first shows to talk about it tonight. Going to impact every one of us. We're going to get into that tonight. And then I'm going to be joined by Bill Federer, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana. They're posting the 10 Commandments. They passed legislation to do it. I'm all for it. I think most of you are too, right? I mean, the laws of nature, nature's God. The 10 Commandments are a reflection thereof. By the way, every one of the 10 Commandments is repeated in the New Testament except one. Did you know that? Every one of the 10 Commandments are stated again in the New Testament, except for one. You know which one it is? Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. There's no compulsion for going to church on Saturday. In fact, what are we told in the New Testament? Don't be compelled. Don't be compelled by holidays and this and that. And of course, people started going to church. People say, oh, we started going to church on Sundays because of the Catholic Church. Wrong-o. The apostles were going to church on Sunday after the resurrection to acknowledge the resurrection of Christ. Now, look, folks, if you want to go to church on Saturday, if you want to go to church on Sunday, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's important that you're gathering together with believers of like mind and studying the Bible, using your spiritual gifts for the edification and equipping of the saints for the work of ministry. But isn't that interesting that all nine of the 10 of the 10 Commandments, 9 of the 10 are repeated in the New Testament? Why would we not want kids to think about, contemplate, know the 10 Commandments, or at least 9 of the 10? Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder. By the way, it's thou shalt not murder, not thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. But remember, in 1980, the Supreme Court knocked down the 10 Commandments on the schoolroom walls of America. 1980. Because they literally said, Kids that look at the Ten Commandments day after day, week after week, month after month, may be compelled to follow it, even if they don't want to. How stupid, right? God forbid kids follow the Ten Commandments. Well, we'll see how this is going to go down with a new court. I'll talk about that with Bill Federer tonight. So a lot to get to. Hey, will you do me a favor? Tweet, text, email, Facebook, Getter, Truth Social. Spread the word that we're live. We're out here talking about things probably very few people are talking about from all kinds of perspectives. All right. Love to have you tweet, text, email, Facebook, Getter, Truth Social. Tell everybody to join us right here at worldviewtube.com. Hey, you know what we did today? We added a new channel. You know we have already worldviewtube.com, but then we added worldviewtube.com/prophecy, the 24-hour-a-day Bible prophecy channel. worldviewtube.com/prophecy. Then we added, of course, a couple weeks ago, we added worldviewtube.com/history. It's a history channel, 24/7 history channel. By the way, the new Robert E. Lee documentary should be ready for this Friday night. No pressure there, Logan. worldviewtube.com/history, worldviewtube.com/prophecy, worldviewtube.com/health. That's our health channel. And today we launched worldviewtube.com/Bible. 24-hour Bible teaching. We have 35 years I've been doing this, so we have a lot in our archives. But now we've added a Bible channel for those who just want to get good Bible teaching. worldviewtube.com/Bible. What's that, 5 channels now, Logan? Look at that, folks. And how do we support all these channels? Pushing out all this free content. Well, a couple ways. More than a couple. Go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Swish for Life, that's your glutathione to detox your cells. Some studies show glutathione may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. Worldview Healthcare, get your wellness kit. Have your own antibiotic kits. So your own urgent care. Worldviewwater.net, filter your water. Give your dog good water. Give your kids good water. Give yourself good water. Give your pets good water. Filter out all the chemicals and the poisons. And you can even get one for your shower, which one of our viewers said last week, the cracks on their feet are now gone. Okay? Worldviewwater.net. Bella Grace, I take it each and every day. 80 clinical trials behind it. Real science. Okay? Worldview Foundation. We'd love to have some of you support us. This is a powerful way to support us through our foundation. There's our health channel. Woo! Our fall conference coming up October 3rd and 4th. Only 350 seats available in our beautiful theater here in beautiful Collierville, Tennessee. WorldviewTalk.com. Get your own satellite phone, your solar generator, bulletproof backpack, get your Starlink. And you can get Starlink for free. Free. You sign up for one of their very reasonable monthly plans. And they have portable Starlink. Portable. For your RV, your cabin, whatever. Worldview Gold. Put gold into your IRA. You can actually order up gold, silver. Get the free packet, no obligation, worldviewgold.com. Coffee, worldviewcoffee.com. And of course, Gatatana. I take it every day. It's phytoplankton. I had to stop and think about it for a minute. Not photo. I've been admonished. Phytoplankton. And I drink this every day. We put half a scoop on Dolly's food every day. It's all there. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Thank you, folks. All right, joining me now is Leo Hohmann, senior producer of the Worldview Report and the purveyor of leohohmann.com and leohohmann.substack.com. Leo joins us tonight to talk about several things, but the most pressing issue at hand right now is what is going on with all the revelations about the deep state and their coup d'etat against President Trump in his first term and Russia. What does Leo think this is really all about? Will it amount to anything? Is it a distraction? Is it multiple people with multiple agendas? You know, when people go to war, they don't all go to war for the same reason. This is one reason why the Islamists and the Marxists can unite together, take out shared enemies, accomplish certain things, and then they can deal with each other later. In politics, a lot of times people will join together They never join together for the same cause, the same outcome, the same goal. Is this one of those situations where the objective of one is not the objective of another? I was wondering today on radio, and I was pretty insistent about it at 1 o'clock. Is this being done as a distraction, number one? Number two, is it being done to Tulsi Gabbard, as Trevor Loudon said last night? She's trying to save her job. President Trump got upset with her. Reportedly, he didn't like her video she made about nuclear war, and she's got to try to, get back in his good graces. And by taking on those people that were taking on him, that would, hey, look, when someone comes to your defense, they generally become someone you really like. Who doesn't like someone that comes to their defense? Is she doing this to save her job? Are there others that are happy about it because they want to now validate to more Americans that maybe thought a lot of this stuff was conspiracy? You knew it wasn't, I knew it wasn't, but now all of a sudden it's validated, and a lot of your family and friends are hearing it for the first time, or at least having it validated that the whole Russia collusion thing wasn't conspiracy, wasn't just Trump, making stuff up. There was really a coup d'etat. And now all of a sudden you realize this federal government is so corrupt. There's a two-tiered legal system out there. This is not right. We want justice. What if you get to the end of the Trump term and nothing's happened to these people? There is no justice. There was clear, gross violation of federal law, constitutional law, like maybe never seen in American history. I mean, it makes Watergate look like nothing. Nothing. And at the end of the Trump term, nothing's done. What does that do? I think it would demoralize many in the MAGA crowd. Add it to 2 or 3 other issues that never get justice. And the MAGA crowd ends being disenfranchised, demoralized, apathetic, passive, like, look, if President Trump couldn't get it done, no one can. It's hopeless. And a percentage of people will check out. We saw this after the 2020 election steal. People that had Trump flags, people that were involved in Trump parades with their trucks or their boats on lakes. When the election was stolen clearly from him, nothing was done about it. I personally know people said, I'm done, I'm out. They turned off Talk TV. They turned off programs like this. They stopped being involved because they said it's hopeless. It means nothing. They get me all revved up. They get me all involved, some for the first time. And then something so clearly evident as being a fraud happens and there's no justice. The game is rigged. I'm out. I know people for one side or the other, it doesn't matter. They checked out. I'm not saying it's right. Human nature. So what do you think a lot of them will do this time? If nothing happens at the end of 3.5 remaining years, no justice. A lot of them are going to be disenfranchised. They're going to check out. They're done. Apathetic, passive, frustrated, bitter, angry, but they're out. The left wins. What if some of them become extremely angry, like to the point of a pressure cooker, like I said today, a pressure cooker. You need that pressure cooker like your mom or grandmother used to cook with. And that little top of that pressure cooker would rattle, right? The steam would be coming off. Maybe your mom used a pressure cooker on Sundays to cook a roast, or on Saturday nights before church, so it would then move into the crock pot while you're at church. And she started out with a pressure cooker. And my mom would have one, and that little steel thing would rattle and blow steam, letting off some of the steam there, right? You need that steam to come off. Whereas your pressure cooker, you got a mess, dangerous. If there's no releasing of this pressure that's being built up right now by this administration and their DNI, and all these people in the intelligence community confirming these facts of coup d'etat, treason at the highest levels. And people are now saying, you see, even a former Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard, saying it. And then nothing happened. Some of those people, there's no pressure. They've built the pressure up. They built the pressure up. They built the pressure up. There's been no release valve through justice. And those people are going to, some of them are going to do things maybe they shouldn't do. Get involved in things maybe they shouldn't get involved in. Chaos. Now on the right. I don't want to see chaos on the left, the middle, or the right. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to go to civil war. If we do anything, I would like to see a civil secession, civilly seceding from the Union. Let us, Tennessee, Arkansas, others say, bye-bye, we're out. I don't know if that'll happen, but I don't want a civil war. But we know our enemies would love to see chaos in this country, to give people no hope. When you start throwing red meat like this out of the Oval Office or out of the White House press briefing room, if that's what they're doing, intentionally or not, and if nothing gets done in 3.5 years that are remaining in this Trump administration, you're going to have different reactions from different groups. And this is very concerning. So I'm asking, what's the goal? What's the objective? Who's doing this? Remember, not everybody does the same thing for the same reason. Some people have good motives, others, no. But ask yourself, you really think you're ever going to see Barack Obama perk walk? James Comey? Clapper? Let's see what Leo Hohmann thinks. LeoHohmann.com, LeoHohmann.substack.com. Leo, the floor is yours. Respond to my monologue.
Yeah, I think you're 100% on the right track, Brandon. When it first came down, my first thought was it's a big distraction, and I still think that's a big part of it. Because you look at the timing, and I think from President Trump's perspective, it's a good distraction. Mm-hmm. But there are other perspectives involved here. But just from President Trump alone, the timing was perfect because he was coming under intense fire. You had the pollster on your show, Mark, what's his name?
Mark Mitchell.
Mark Mitchell, a week or so ago, confirming what we thought, that this Epstein thing was really beating Trump up. His popularity was falling precipitously in the Rasmussen poll, which is, I think, the most reliable poll. And then we come out with Tulsi Gabbard and all of this.
And by the way, his polling is now going back up.
Yes, exactly.
With Rasmussen is showing
it's working as his perfect distraction at the perfect time that he needed it. Okay. So I can understand it, why he would want to pursue it. When I saw his video that he released a couple days ago, to me, that was affirmation that he is not thinking that this is seriously going to happen, that, you know, that Barack Obama is going to be frog marched into prison by the arrested and put on trial for treason. I don't think Trump believes that's going to happen.
For those who don't know, you're talking about this video that Trump put on Truth Social. He re-truthed. Sorry, guys, I'll pull that down.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so that's the one he re-truthed that one. President Trump did.
Okay.
Remember that? Well, that's what you're referring to, right?
That is exactly the one I'm referring to. And to me, if you seriously thought that was going to happen, you would not make light of it, okay? You wouldn't make a funny video like that. You would be probably very quiet about it because, you know, why steal anyone's thunder or give away your game plan to the alleged criminal?
Not only that, if your DOJ is investigating this, you really have to keep your mouth quiet, and you can't really be saying anything and let the investigation roll forward.
Exactly. So I don't take it seriously because I don't think Trump's taking it seriously.
But yet, if I could stop you right there, for those who haven't seen it, but yet, this happened today, and it sure looked awfully sober. Watch this.
At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff Report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
And she's got the whole backdrop and who did this and flow chart and everything.
What does that remind you of, Brandon? I mean, if you just flip the faces there and put a Biden person there, basically it's the exact same narrative that we heard from the Biden regime when they said that Donald Trump was what? Undermining our democracy. Now you've got Tulsi Gabbard with President Trump in office saying that it was actually the Democrats and Barack Obama who undermined our democracy. So what you have is the globalists, I think, pulling strings on both sides of the aisle to foment this tension where both sides no longer have any trust whatsoever in our government.
Yeah.
And at some point are going to be willing to go to war with each other. At least that is the hope of the globalists. At the same time, they're trying to drive us towards World War III on the international stage, Brandon. They're seeking to drive us to civil war here at home. That would be their absolute best case scenario to take down America, where you have got a two-front war abroad and at home. I think at the same time inviting economic collapse, by the way. Now you're talking about the world's most biggest and most feared superpower being taken down. In my opinion, that would take down any superpower.
And that's exactly what I said on radio today was, what if this is the Hegelian dialectic? Something.
And I didn't even hear your broadcast.
No.
So we're on the same wavelength.
Because, I talk all the time about the Hegelian dialectic, because thesis and antithesis, idea, opposite idea, get them to conflict, left versus right, Christianity versus Islam, Christianity versus communism, whatever it is, right? Get them to fight. And either you get the two to merge, like communism and Christianity merge for what I call Marxianity, social justice, open borders, the feminization of Christianity through cultural Marxism, or merge Christianity with Islam. You don't want to be seen as an Islamophobic individual, do you? So do interfaith dialogue. Oh, we all worship the same God, the Yale document, lie. And now you got Chrislam. But you did this by having a conflict, which caused some people to say, but I don't want the conflict. I don't want this cognitive dissonance. So we'll merge, right? But sometimes what you want is not a merging. Sometimes what you want is a fighting of the two, the left and the right, so that you can destroy the foundations of America, as you say, our institutions, and trust in our institutions. And only by doing that will the left and the right all finally agree. We're tired of fighting around the Christmas table. We're tired of fighting around the Thanksgiving table. I got to live in a neighborhood with these people, tired of this. We're all tired of it. At the end of the day, we've all lost trust. Maybe we go to a third option. So the goal isn't so much a merging at this point on this scenario, it's a dialectic, because as Saul Alinsky said, the change comes from the conflict. Or as George McGregor Burns, I quote him all the time, said in his 1984 book, The Power to Lead, a globalist. The only way we're going to get the people to go where we want them to go is under a stupendous political and economic crisis. So now you create such a distrust in the government and its institutions that people are willing to go, and I said on the radio today, Leo, and I don't think I told you this, they're saying, phooey on all this. Let's start over and let's accept the idea of a North American Union. Let's be done with all of them out of Washington. Go to a North American Union, a parliament. And whoever wins the election runs the government in its totality or whatever. Or maybe the option is phooey on all of them. You know, our politicians are bought and paid for by special interests. Some of them have been caught doing things, i.e. Epstein files, with kids they shouldn't be doing, and they're controlled. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to turn it all over to AI. Maybe it's time to turn it all over to AI and let AI make the rules. Let AI be the judges. Let AI write the legislation so that it is not right versus left. It can just all be uniformed and everybody knows what the rules are. I don't know what the third option is, but many people can benefit from what she did today. While people are cheering it, I'm thinking to myself, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Usually is, yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, are you being played? What is the goal? What is the outcome? And remember, in a battle, and all politics is a war, in any war, people go to war and do things in war for different reasons and outcomes. Right? So what do you think? What do you think is the goal? Is it to get the right to be demoralized and sit it out after 3.5 years? Nothing happens in the next 3.5 years. At the end, they're done. They're out. The left wins. The globalists win. Is it to cause some of the people on the right to go nuts and do things they shouldn't do? Is it to cause the people on the left keep doing things with immigration? Not that I disagree with it, but keep doing things that ignite the left and then ignite the right, ignite the left, ignite the right. And pretty soon you got yourself a civil war. Because I'm watching, for instance, the alligator Alcatraz, right? Down there in Florida. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I don't care if they throw a bunch of MS-13 gang members or whatever in there. I could care less. They shouldn't be here. Raping, looting, throw them in there. And then I hear from some people, it's out there that the toilets don't flush, they can't make phone calls, out of there, the different things aren't working. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, is that going to be for hardened criminals, MS-13, Tren de Araguas people? Or are we going to be throwing people in there that lived here for 5-10 years that cleans your houses? Well, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe they need to go back, but I'm not so sure I'm for, treating them that way. Okay, is there a way just to get them on an airplane and send them out of here, being humane? I don't want to see dehumanization of people because our culture has enough of that. And when we become comfortable with dehumanization, and listen to me, you Christians, listen to me, MAGA. When the culture becomes comfortable on both sides of the aisle with dehumanization, you're only setting up yourself. Because when they come after us, nobody's going to say anything because they have been conditioned to dehumanize the opposition. So we can't dehumanize the opposition. We can't dehumanize people. We're better than that. Even if they are MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, whatever, we have to have humanity and civil rights or we fall into being as bad as they are. No, and I see these things being built and they're being thrown up awfully fast. I think to myself, is that being done to incite the left? So every day, Leo, I'm watching something that incites the left, incites the right, incites the left, incites the right. I'm like, you know what? I'm not playing this game because somebody is convincing some people to do these things. Now, the people being convinced to do them may be doing them for good reasons. Yeah, these are hardened criminals that are raping our young people, raping our children, our spouses, or our daughters at college, like happened to that poor gal down in Georgia where you live. And we need to deal with these hardened criminals and then get them out of here. Throw them in those chain link fence cages down there and get them out of here. Okay. Some people may be doing these things for good reasons. They're, again, being led down a path. I want to know who's pulling the strings to keep this left, right every day, something that incites the left, incites the right. What's the objective? And is it true, Leo, that you wrote an article that that someone is calling for building these camps in every state? Is that true?
I did not write an article on that, but I did read something about it, that there was some discussion. Actually, it was a comment by President Trump that he think, I don't want to put words in his mouth and I don't remember the direct quote, but just to paraphrase, he said something to the effect of, I think we should build these in many states, that there are many states that could have these type of facilities like we see down in Florida, where, you know, it's like open air prisons. You know, mosquitoes are swarming and the inmates are treated very poorly. Maybe the Guantanamo prisoners are treated even better, I would think, than some of the ones in this facility. But you're exactly right. I'm so glad that you used that term, dehumanization. That's why I kind of cringe whenever I hear, you know, a politician or a media pundit use the term animals. Oh, they're just animals, you know, when they're talking about criminals. You know, yes, criminals are bad people. Yes, most of them are completely devoid of any moral compass. They need Jesus. They're unsaved, but they are human. And as long as you have a breath in your body left, according to the Bible, you can change. You can accept Jesus as your Savior and make him the Lord of your life, as long as you are a living human, breathing human. And so to call them animals, or in some cases you hear people say they're worse than animals, well, then you can do anything to that person. And that includes, you know, waterboarding. It includes torture, like we see in many other countries. You know, George W. Bush sent people to other countries to be tortured. I was not in favor of that.
No.
Because it's a form of dehumanization. And as you pointed out, Brandon, that's a slippery slope.
That's a double-edged sword, is what that is.
Yes.
Kind of like the former pastor in Germany. I wasn't a socialist, so I didn't speak up. I wasn't a trade unionist, I didn't
Correct.
speak up. I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't speak up. And when they came for me, there was no one left to speak up.
That was Martin Niemauer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Niemöller. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home, went to bed. All right, welcome back. Worldview Tube, worldviewtube.com/sponsors to check out all our sponsors that help us keep the program and the network going. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Hey, we're adding a new channel. We have worldviewtube.com/prophecy. worldviewtube.com/history. It's our history channel. Oh, by the way, the Robert E. Lee documentary should be done for this Friday. Amazing. Amazing. We even got Logan even got Robert E. Lee and Andrew Jackson in the dining room at Arlington House visiting. We got an AI of that. Looks so real life. So that should be out. That's, that kind of thing is going to be airing on our history channel, which is up, worldviewtube.com/history, worldviewtube.com/prophecy. That's Bible prophecy. worldviewtube.com/health. That's home and health programming. And today we launched worldviewtube.com/Bible, 24-hour Bible teaching. worldviewtube.com/Bible. What's that make now? 5 channels we're running? And we're shoving it all out for free. We need your support. worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors, and worldviewtube.com/ and then worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. All right? All right. Joining me again is Leo Holman of leoholman.com, leoholman.substack.com. All right. Leo, look at this headline real quick. This is from the Telegraph. No, the Express. The Express. Fears Russia preparing for large-scale war as huge mobilization gets a go-ahead. Martin Armstrong's warning that NATO is going to go to war with Russia, that they're collapsing financially. They're in Europe, and they got no choice but to go to war as a major distraction and draft people. What do you say, Leo?
I agree with that analysis. I think all wars start on the economic level, Brandon, usually involving control over resources, natural resources. And Russia is not only the largest country in the world in terms of landmass, but it's also the richest country in the world in terms of natural resources. They have oil, gas, uranium, gold, all sorts of natural resources that are, as we've seen, are becoming more valuable in the modern era of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies and AI, and all of this stuff requires rare earth minerals. It requires backing for your digital currency. And all of the countries in the world, East and West, are sort of maneuvering right now to see which side they want to go. Do they want to go with the West, or do they want to go with the Russia, China, Iran, North Korea axis? And India, I think, is a huge player in all of this. If they decide to go with the Russia, China, now we definitely have a situation where the West, I think, is going to be on the outside looking in terms of who's controlling the most resources. And Europe is the continent that is the most resource poor of all of them, okay? Which most people wouldn't realize because it's such a wealthy country. Over the years, some of the world's most wealthy corporations have been in Western Europe. But all of that is coming to an end in the modern digital era, in this great reset, as they like to call it. They don't have the resources. Russia does, and they're Russia, their neighbor, right there next to Western Europe, has all of these vast resources. And I think the Western Europeans are looking, sideways over at their neighbor and saying, we'd like to have some of that. And so the plan is to defeat Russia in a world war and break it up into several countries and install Western puppet regimes, do regime change. That's what this is all about, a regime change, and if possible, defeat them militarily and break them up, balkanize them, and steal their resources. That's what is driving Europe. That is the reason that the Western Europeans, with a few exceptions, okay, are just they're just seething and foaming at the mouth right now. They're so excited about going to war with Russia. I know it sounds insane. And like I said, there are a few notable exceptions, but the major countries of Western Europe, the UK, Germany, and France, are eager right now to get it on with Russia. Now they might need that they're trying to drag this out with Ukraine using Ukraine as a proxy so that they can get their military industrial complex built up to speed, because they know that as much as they would like to go to war with Russia right now, that would be a non-winnable situation for one fact. They cannot keep up with Russia in terms of producing munitions. Russia is outproducing the West right now in the Ukraine war 3-1. Okay, for every missile or shell produced by the West, Russia's producing 3. Some say it could be as much as 4-1. So they need another year, possibly 2, to drag this out with Ukraine as the proxy before they go in and send troops to go against Russia. But that's what this is about. And I think World War III at this point, barring some sort of unforeseen miraculous development, it's a foregone conclusion, Brandon. We're going to World War III. It's just a matter of when. I think it'll be at least a year, maybe 2 years from now before we see it really kick off in earnest. But I don't expect any permanent ceasefire in Ukraine. I think that's going to continue simmering, because they need that to keep simmering to use as the trigger point when they're ready for all-out World War III.
LeoHoman.com, LeoHoman.substack.com. Check him out, follow him. Got great stuff over there. Senior producer also of the Worldview Report. Leo, thank you as always.
Thank you, Brandon.
Joining me now is Bill Federer. Today on radio, I dealt with this article with the guy that wrote it, Selwyn Duke. Supreme Court may overturn 45-year precedent, which itself overturned a 193-year precedent. That had to do with the Ten Commandments. Remember the Supreme Court ruling in 1980? Kids can't look at the Ten Commandments. It was an issue out of Kentucky. Kentucky kids can't look at the Ten Commandments day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, or they may be compelled to follow them even if they don't want to. So said the Supreme Court, 1980. Well, now Arkansas, Louisiana, and I think Texas, they're all passing legislation and have to post the Ten Commandments in the schoolrooms. They're saying they're doing it as a historical document. I guess that's how they're going to get around it. I don't know what the Supreme Court didn't understand about Congress shall make no law establishing a religion. The state legislature is not the U.S. Congress, but they get around it by saying they mean Congress also means state legislatures. Never underestimate the ability of the cultural Marxists to rewrite the meaning of words. After all, they wouldn't even tell you what a woman is. Now, what will this current Supreme Court do? Let's find out. Joining me is historian Bill Federer. Bill, are you at Alligator Alley? What are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm just recorded out at Coral Ridge Ministry, some TV spots, and on my way back to Fort Myers. And I thought I'd at least give your viewers a little bit of a picture of the Everglades. Now, we're not at Alligator Alcatraz, but we are near what pretty much looks the same. So this is the canal that goes all the way across the state, and you'll see alligators here in the water. So this is definitely someplace you wouldn't want to be wandering around at night in, but I thought at least you get a little feel for what it's like here in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely you do. All right. Truth Transforms, D. James Kennedy, he offered my book, Creator of College and Educational Abduction. He sold lots of copies of that book for us. And I was a guest on his Truth That Transforms so many times, TV and radio. So it's great to hear that you're working with that wonderful ministry. All right, Bill, what is going on? Is this going to go to the Supreme Court? Are we going to see the 1980 Supreme Court ruling overturned by this Supreme Court when Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana are posting the Ten Commandments?
Yeah, so we have to remember that the Ten Commandments used to always be posted. I have a 1940 Dallas high school textbook that gives high school credit for taking a New Testament class.
Wow.
Where you're memorizing verses in the Bible. And it was only 1962 and 1963 that you had Madalyn Murray O'Hair suing, and then some people in New York suing to get rid of that 22-word prayer. John Amachuku did a recent video on the 22-word prayer. It was so bland. It was, God bless my teachers, God bless America. It was like that bland, but yet they sued to stop that. But for most of American history, you had John Adams. He was the author of the Massachusetts State Constitution, 1780, which predates our U.S. Constitution by 7 years. And it's or 8 years, but it's the oldest continuously used constitution there in Massachusetts. And John Adams had taxpayer expense Protestant teachers of piety and religion. In other words, if we're going to get rid of a king who rules for fear, we need to have a population that has morals. And so here's John Adams, state taxpayer funded teachers of piety and religion. This was the norm for America. And we're just getting back to it. And you think of the 10 Commandments are what? Don't kill. That's sort of a good thing. Don't steal. Don't rape. Right? Don't lie. Don't covet. But what would motivate you to keep those? Well, that's why you need the first commandments of I'm the Lord thy God, thou shalt no other gods before me, thou shalt not worship idols, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. There was even an 1811 New York Supreme Court case called People versus Ruggles, where the judge ordered the person to pay $500 for taking God's name in vain. They said if you take God's name in vain, you destroy the efficacy of oaths. What's efficacy? The effectiveness of an oath. So a judge has the witness tell the truth, so help you God. Well, if the witness takes God's name in vain, it's no motivator to say, so help you God. And so the judge can't trust if the witness is telling the truth or not. Even George Washington said, what security do we have for life and property if religious obligation deserts the oaths, which are instruments of investigation in the court of law? So putting the 10 Commandments back up is just returning to the way America has been for most of our history up until the 1960s.
Yeah. Well, here's your article. Supreme Court, 1892, America, a Christian nation. American Minute with Bill Federer. He wrote this back in 2024. There's some folks some influencers out on social media saying that America wasn't founded on any particular theology. Now, I guess you could argue that obviously it wasn't founded on any particular denomination, but they did want a theology, a belief in God, theos, meaning God, theos, God. They wanted a theology in that they wanted the general principles of Christianity. And by religion, the founders basically meant that, right? A belief in God, a God who judges in the afterlife, that you're accountable, that God can't judge nations in the afterlife, so he often judges nations here. But he does judge the individual here and in the afterlife, so you better be careful, right? So to say that America wasn't founded on any kind of theology, that's not really a true statement. It wasn't founded on any kind of denominational perspective theology, but it was founded on the theology of believing in God who judges and the laws of nature and nature's God, and that man is responsible for the choices they make and can be held accountable by both God and by government, which doesn't give people their rights. Their rights come from God. So you can't say America wasn't founded on some kind of theology, because to say that is to say the founders had no view on God and that the character nature of God played no role in our founding or how we govern ourselves, correct?
Oh, you're definitely correct. I read through every charter of every colony, and every colony was started by a different Christian denomination. Virginia was Anglican, Massachusetts was Puritan, Rhode Island was Baptist, Maryland was Catholic, Delaware, New Jersey were originally Swedish Lutheran, New York, Dutch Reformed, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Congregationalist, Pennsylvania, Quaker, and they did not get along. They tar and feather each other, but then they all had to work together against the King of England. After the Revolution, their attitude changed to, we may not always agree on religion, but you were willing to fight and die for my freedom. I need to let you practice your faith. So on a state-by-state level, they began to expand religious tolerance. Some states were way out in front, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania. Some states were way in the back. Connecticut and Massachusetts had the congregational denomination established up until 1818 in Connecticut and 1833 in Massachusetts. You could not hold office unless you were a Congregationalist Christian. And so their fear was the new federal government would pick one denomination and make it the national, which is what every country in Europe had. England was Anglican, Scotland was Presbyterian, Holland was Dutch Reformed, Switzerland was Calvinist, Northern Germany and Sweden Lutheran, Italy Catholic. Their fear was that the new federal government would pick one. And so they put handcuffs on the federal government, which says what? Congress shall make no law. Who's limited? Congress. Doesn't limit the states. Congress shall do what? Make no law. And how do you make a law? You introduce a bill, vote on a bill. In other words, when the subject of religion comes before the federal government, they're supposed to throw their hands up and say, we have no jurisdiction over religion because it's under state jurisdiction. Even Thomas Jefferson says this. And then you look at the Irish potato famine in the early 1800s, and before then, the country was 3 million people, 98% Protestant, 1% Catholic, only 30,000 Catholics in the whole country. They were only allowed originally in 3 states, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York, and only 0.1% Jewish, only 7 synagogues in the entire nation. But after the Irish potato famine, the Catholic percentage went from 1% to 20%. And there was a persecution of Jews in Bavaria, and 250,000 come across, and they go from 0.1% to 1%. And as the centuries go on, more immigrants come in, and they tolerate more and more and more until finally everybody's tolerated except the Christians that founded the country, right? So it's backfired. But it's clear from the founding documents that this was a Christian nation. Matter of fact, I like to say it this way. We were Christian states. And then they decided to unite into the United States. But the different states definitely established themselves Christian. North Carolina, in their original state constitution, said every office holder had to be a Protestant. South Carolina, every office holder had to be a Protestant. You read South Carolina's first state constitution, it gets into the Trinity, gets into the all the doctrines of the gospel. I mean, it's like a sermon. In South Carolina's first state constitution, Delaware's state constitution, 1776, said every office holder had to believe in God the Father, Jesus Christ, his only Son, one, and the Holy Ghost, one God, blessed forevermore. And you think that's pretty narrow-minded. No, that was generous, because you could be a Catholic or a Protestant and say, I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Even Ben Franklin signed Pennsylvania's Constitution in 1776, which said every office holder had to make a declaration of belief in God, the creator and governor of the universe, the rewarder of the good, the punisher of the wicked, and acknowledge the scriptures of the Old and New Testament to be given by divine inspiration. In other words, you not only had to lay your hand on a Bible, you had to swear you believed the Bible was inspired. And that was Ben Franklin signing that. So it's a pretty much of a stretch to say that the founders weren't Christian. No, they were so jealously attached to their own Christian denomination. That's the only reason that they didn't want the federal government to pick one over the rest.
So how do you think this is going to come down when it goes to the Supreme Court?
Well, in the 1840s, 48, you had Darwin come up with his Evolution of Species. And a guy named Herbert Spencer, and you've written on this probably better than anybody else, Herbert Spencer decided to apply evolution to other areas of academia, including law. So Christopher Columbus Langdell of Harvard University comes up with the case precedent theory of law. Instead of going back to the founders and see what they intended, you just take the most recent case and have it evolve. And so graduating from Harvard was Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. And he came up with what he called legal realism. And he basically said, scrap the founders, you just have the law evolve as the changing domestic and economic and social conditions of the country. It's like, our founders had no problem with the Constitution evolving, but let it be done through the amendment process, where you have 2/3 of the states voting for it and 3/4 of the states ratifying it to make sure it's a super majority, make sure it evolves as the country wants it to. And we've passed amendments, right? The 19th Amendment, letting women vote, that's sort of a good thing, right? We can pass amendments. We don't need a judge to have it evolve in his courtroom by quote unquote broadening the definition of words, right? So originally religion was a Christian concept. James Madison gave a definition. He says religion, comma, or the duty we owe our God and the manner of discharging it. So it acknowledges God exists, acknowledges he's singular, acknowledges he's supposed to be worshiped. You just have the choice as to how to do it. That was James Madison. But now they've evolved religion to mean any belief system. And so now to not discriminate one against the other, they have to kick God out.
So, will the Supreme Court hang their hat on case law theory, Christopher Columbus laying down, as you said? Or do you think they're going to go back and look at the original intent of the founders and say, well, of course states can post the 10 Commandments if they want to?
Yeah, there's been some cases recently which give me hope. Matter of fact, one was Justice, not Anthony Scalia. He's the name's escaping me, but several cases fairly recently where they did want to acknowledge the historical truth of the views of the founding fathers. I'm hoping that that'll be the case in this one.
This is a more conservative court, probably, than we've had in a long time. So chances, and they've been giving us some good rulings, right? So maybe they will.
Yeah. It's Anthony Kennedy.
Kennedy, yeah.
Yeah, so the case was the city of Greece, New York, opened with prayer in Jesus' name, and the ACLU sues to stop it. And Anthony Kennedy said, even our Continental Congress opened with prayer in Jesus' name. It's okay. And he cites a source, and it's America's God and Country, the book that I wrote. So,
which, by the way, you can get all of his books here. There it is. Look at that. America's God and Country. It's been in my library since the year it came out. By the way, what year did that come out?
94.
Yeah, I've had it in my library since then. It's a great book. Every library should have this book. These are all his books. They're there at AmericanMinute.com, AmericanMinute.com. Bill Federer. We love Bill. He's a great Christian historian, American historian, history, a great patriot, great Christian man, Bill Federer. Bill, thank you. Don't get eaten by an alligator now.
Yeah. Well, goodbye from Alligator Alley. Not too far from Alligator Alcatraz.
Be careful. Bill Federer checking in tonight. Thank you, Bill. AmericanMinute.com. God bless you, Bill. AmericanMinute.com. Okay, there you go, folks. Check it out. Great books, great information. Okay, again, remember, we're brought to you by you. WorldviewFoundation.com. And then, of course, all of our sponsors. Lots of great sponsors there. Check it all out. WorldviewTube.com/sponsors. WorldviewTube.com/sponsors. And we'll be right back.
Nature has a rhythm, a quiet strength, a way of restoring, protecting, and renewing us. Wellness isn't just about how you feel today. It's the quiet choices you make for tomorrow. At myvitamin.com/worldview, we've made daily self-care simple. Quality vitamins, daily supplements, and targeted nutrition. myvitamin.com/worldview makes it easy. Pure ingredients thoughtfully combined, tailored for your body. Formulated by a doctor who has over 25 years of medical practice experience and is a certified functional medicine provider. Visit myvitamin.com/worldview today and take the next step towards strength, balance, and resilience. Discover the wide range of med packs made for you and your loved ones. What you nurture today becomes the strength you walk in tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview. Joining me now is Patrick Wood. He has a brand new article out. Don't get mad at me, folks. I'm just the broadcaster putting out information and all kinds of views and opinions. Okay, here's the title. Trump, the technocrat, releases America's AI action plan, launches AI.gov website. All right, joining me now is Patrick Wood. Some lady, I don't even know who she is because I don't really care, claims that this is Worldview Tube's turned into the anti-Trump network. Well, I got news for you, sweetheart. President Trump's social platform, Truth Plus, carries us. So if we're so anti-Trump, why is Truth Plus carrying us, sweetheart? Okay. I'm sorry that apparently you are so much wanting to be a cult follower that you can't see that people can disagree. For Pete's sake, lady, President Trump has people in his own administration that can't agree with each other. They're constantly fighting with each other in his own administration. And you know what? President Trump lets it happen. You know why? Because President Trump likes to hear a lot of different people's ideas and opinions, and then he picks one and goes with it. But we got a couple people out here, Logan. I don't see their emails because I don't waste my time. But apparently they like to make smart comments. And one lady's like, oh, this is just the anti-Trump network. Well then, sweetheart, go watch another network. Because we're here to cover all the news with all the perspectives and all the opinions. And if you want to be some kind of dumbed down drone that only listens to the leader is great, the leader is smart, the leader's never wrong, then go do that. But President Trump himself doesn't surround himself with those kind of people because most good CEOs don't. They want everybody's kind of input and see what they're saying, and then he picks where he goes. Now, do I always agree where he picks to go? No. Some people in his own administration sometimes don't apparently agree with where he's going, but they still in the administration. Don't ever underestimate people. Don't ever underestimate the desire for some people to have a king. Some people to have a king, they just want someone to tell them they're in charge, and they're going to follow him blindly with no discernment, no reasoning. No wonder the Antichrist is going to be able to rise to power. So if you can't handle the truth, then you're watching the wrong network, babe. So joining me now is Patrick Wood. There you go. You like that little rant, Patrick? You're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself because I don't want to miss a word you're saying.
I couldn't say that. I would say same thing. And, I'll say this. I voted for Trump in the first place. I told people before the election, I said, I'm going to vote for this man. And if he turns in to be technocratic after the election, I'm sure he'll do some things that we like. But if he turns technocratic, I said at the time, I will be the first to beat the snot out of him. So, verbally, that is. Verbally, I know. So, I have to be critical of technocracy because this is my field. This has been my reason to exist in the last 18 years, studying technocracy. I know it forward and backwards, and I can smell a technocrat a long way off for sure.
And you're going to be here. You're going to be here, Lord willing, and I'm going to be here, Lord willing, long after the Trump administration. So if we want to be taken seriously, we just have to call balls and strikes.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing. Right?
Exactly.
And to be honest with you, look, to be honest with you, I think President Trump likes broadcasters like us because there's a lot of people at Fox that were never Trumpers, but he sure seems to like the folks at Fox News. I mean, he criticizes them left and right, but then next thing you know, he's pushing out a tweet for everybody to watch Fox News. So apparently he doesn't mind the conflict and the back and forth of ideas, right? So
apparently so, yeah.
Some of his own followers, though, are just so numb-minded, obsessed. They can't.
Yes.
I'm sure you see the comments and get the emails, too. And I'm thinking, these just are not real bright people. They really can't be real bright people.
Well, maybe they're just deluded. They just they follow the man and they think he's great. And it's hard to change your mind once you have that type of a position.
But if you're committed to truth, it's not hard.
Yeah.
If you're committed to truth instead of personality, that's not a big.
Yes.
That's not hard. And that's what you and I are committed to: truth, right?
Exactly.
And we say when we're happy with him and his administration, we said we would do that from the beginning.
Yeah,
now he got elected. I said that. We're going to praise him when he does great. We're going to cheer him on. And when we disagree, we have to disagree. That's a free society. Look, his administration isn't paying me. Okay, I don't get any money from the IRS, from the government, from the USAID. I don't get any money from the Trump campaign. We don't roll like that. Okay, I wouldn't take money for that. I'm not a paid mouthpiece, and that's why our numbers are going up, up, up. I ask Logan every day, how are our numbers? And they're just constantly going up. You know why? Because people know House, Woods, the rest of these, Leo Holman. These people are just straight shooters. They're just telling you the truth, the way it is. That's why we're growing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so.
I guess so.
I'm with you. You bet.
We're going to do it again right now. Here's the article. All right. So if you have Trump derangement syndrome on either side, right or left, which some of you on the right do, meaning that you can't handle anyone that says anything negative, which is a form of Trump derangement syndrome on the right, then you might want to tune off or go get your meds. Trump, the technocrat, releases America's AI action plan, launches AI.gov website. Okay, so what is this about? You just wrote a brand new article, released it today.
You
What's
bet.
This about?
This was released today. It wasn't a coincidence that the AI.gov website was released at the same time that this report was released.
What's the report?
The report
right here.
is
That one right there.
Exactly. That's the report right there. Let everybody see it. This is not a conspiracy, okay? This is not a conspiracy to take Trump down or something like that. No, it's not. But this is the document that was just released. This is the future of AI, and it contains all the policy recommendations for AI and during the rest of the Trump administration, at least.
Okay.
There it is. You can read
All
Pillar 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, so what are they saying is the plan? Pillar 1, accelerate AI innovation. Pillar 2, build American AI infrastructure. Pillar 3, lead in international AI diplomacy and security. Okay, so if we're going to build AI American infrastructure, I have a report over at worldviewreport.com, your daily aggregated news site. Let me find it real quick. Worldviewreport.com. I have an article over there that's saying that the power grid cannot handle all that's going on with AI. Brace for soaring electricity bills. Biggest U.S. power grid sets power cost at record high to feed AI. All right, so talk to me about this plan. And are they addressing these kind of concerns? Are they addressing these issues in that plan?
Not enough, not in my opinion. You know, Trump talks about getting energy online, and he's right to promote natural gas. He should be promoting coal for sure, and probably nuclear. There's other not wind and solar, but there's other reactors that could generate electricity for us. But at this point, the horse is out of the barn. All these AI data centers around the country are breaking the grid at this point. And by the way, that was the second article, or the first article that I put out today. Let me get it up here at data. Here it is. This was from Zero Hedge also. AI data centers driving power costs to record high. So here's the handwriting on the wall. The demand for electricity from the AI data centers, they're driving our rates up. It risks, in another study, it risks breaking the power grid altogether. And in the meantime, rates are going to skyrocket for consumers. I'm predicting now that for some consumers at least, maybe starting in California, your power bill is going to be greater than your house payment or your rental payment.
Oh boy. You know what I think of when you say that?
What?
By 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy.
Well, there you go. That's about it.
Because if you can't afford your mortgage payment, you lose your house, right?
That's right.
Now you're renting.
That's right.
Now you're renting.
Yeah.
But of course, I don't know how that's going to work, because if you go and rent a house, you still have to pay the utility bill.
That's right. You do.
But I guess they could use that to force you to live in a cracker box, so you need less energy.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you could live in a basement where there's no windows and it's underground.
So it stays cooler, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But this article, however, the second article that I posted here on this new report that just came out for AI. Mm-hmm. This is a major coordinated theme. You have to go take a look at ai.gov. You can do that right now if you want to, ai.gov, and you'll see the website that was just released. And look at the picture, if you see it, on the first page.
That's it. I went to ai.gov.
There it is.
AI.gov. AI.gov.
Yeah.
Brings you to the White House.
Oh, you know what? It hasn't hit your browser yet.
Oh, Logan's has. All right, Logan's has.
There you go.
Logan.
There you go. That's it. But look at the picture at the front. This is all about Trump. Okay, there he is, right? And big. Well, he's not in living color. I guess this is a black and white website. But this is all about Trump and his achievements to bring AI to the fore. All the executive orders that he signed, all of the legislation he signed. It basically lays out the whole scheme for AI development and infrastructure, especially. So there you go. I mean, this is unmistakable. Anybody can read this, and it's not me saying it. You can get it right here, and you can read the other report as well. And what can I say? That's all I did. I took this report. I kind of summarized it. And you have to conclude that Trump is at least aiding and abetting all of these technocrats in Washington, D.C.
All right. You know what it reminds me of is when we were out there warning after 9/11 about the Patriot Act. And some of these people so worshipped George W. Bush that when we questioned what he was doing, they would send us emails. You must be a communist. You're not a patriot. You're not pro-America. You know, obviously you're not a patriot. You're against the Patriot Act. And we're like, listen here, ding-a-ling. It's called the Patriot Act so that you will be, brainwashed into thinking that if you're not for it, you're not a patriot. And yet here we are, 2025. How many people are big fans of the Patriot Act, right? This is the same thing. We're going to come through this era and say, there's a lot of things that Trump did that we really liked. But we weren't happy with him pushing out the AI he was and the tech bros at Palantir, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then these same delusional people that want to criticize us on social media will be going, oh, yeah, we were right there with you. Like, no, you're not. No, you weren't. Right? No, you weren't. You were one of the drones that couldn't think for yourself. That had to go with the group collective. You know, just admit you're not real bright. You don't have a discernment. Whatever your problem is, figure it out. But you watch how many of the people that are criticizing us today will, a few years from now, be acting like they were on the front lines warning about it. It's always people like you and me and so many of our broadcast partners that are ahead of the curve. You know why? Because we, and many of this audience, have critical thinking skills. We know reason, logic, and context. We, as I said earlier, have no agenda but the truth. We're not committed to personalities. Some of these people, they just have to have some leader. And boy, when they throw in, they throw in with them. But I'm telling you, it won't take long before even our critics are realizing this is a huge problem. Now, when I come back, I want to ask you, is it possible this AI plan for government could fix problems like, let's say, the weaponization of the IRS, where you have IRS agents making rules and decisions that aren't even in the IRS book. They're just making it up. Could AI stop that? Don't go away.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies cat's claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisol collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change. Bella Grace Elixir doesn't stop at collagen. It includes astaxanthin, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, astaxanthin protects your skin from harmful UV rays and environmental stress, while locking in hydration and promoting a radiant, youthful glow. Experience the power of nature with Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Discover the science behind Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Read powerful testimonials from doctors and real customers who've experienced life-changing results, and explore other wellness products from Bella Grace. Bella Grace Elixir is more than just a product. It's a solution. Visit melissahousebg.com today.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Tube. Now, Patrick Wood joins us, technocracy.news, technocracy.news. Look at this. Google plans $10 million data center campus in West Memphis, Arkansas. Okay, that's about 40 minutes. 10 billion, excuse me. That's about 40 minutes from where I am right now. About 40 minutes. So actually in Memphis, we have Elon Musk. What is his system called? AX or XI? XAI? XAI? He has that right here in Memphis, about 30 minutes from us. And across the bridge in Arkansas, in West Memphis, they're building this. Now, I mean, literally, Logan says it's across the bridge or river. Well, it's the bridge over the river. I was told a few months ago, the goal is to turn Memphis into the digital Dixie, which in one sense is fine with me because it's going to increase jobs, employment. Now, why are they coming here? Couple reasons. The cost of things here is so cheap compared to California, Chicago. You know, go check out what you can buy. You can buy a 1966, 68, one level brick house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, wood floors throughout, crown molding. You may need to update the kitchen a little bit, some appliances. But you can buy a really nice 1,900, 2,000 square foot house, all brick, in a neighborhood in East Memphis for about $250 all the way up to $300,000. But you can get one for about $250,000. Good luck doing that in a lot of other cities. And I'm not talking about being in the hood, okay? Housing here is very affordable, very affordable. Property tax, really quite low compared to other parts of the world. Our country. So easy to bring your people in and afford the cost of living. One of the big factors is obviously the Mississippi River for pulling water to cool the servers. Number 3, FedEx is right here. So if you need a part to be flown in, you're going to get it pretty quick. So for those of us living in the Mid-South, part of us is like, great. That would be nice if Memphis would become the digital Dixie, because we could really see like a little southern Silicon Valley here, and we need revenue and money and high-end people and high-end jobs, whatever. So part of us is excited. The other part's like, they're going to crash my power grid. And my AC went out the other day, and it was 97 degrees out. Let me tell you, that's miserable. And had to get the AC guy over to fix everything and get all the ACs up and going again. But your grid goes down. I don't care. If it goes down in the winter, I can live with that. But if your AC goes down in the summertime, you're going to have people die, okay? I have a gigantic generator, but what went wrong was something in the AC. It tripped. The breakers tripped, shut all of them off. So we had power, but the ACs wouldn't stay on. So a lot of us here in the Mid-South are thinking, if they bring down our power grid in the summertime, you're going to have people die. Infants, small children, older people. So here we go. We're going to get ourselves a $10 billion data center here in the Mid-South, added to the one we already got. And you already know, I've told you the lights have flickered on and off multiple times in a 2-minute period since Elon came to town. And I'm told by a local city council member that was them bringing their big system up online. Whether it's true or not, I'm just telling you what a local city council member told me. What are your thoughts on all this?
Your electricity rates were like before Musk came in? Were you traditionally kind of lower on the scale nationally?
Yes.
Did you have lots of excess energy in the system? And, other than thunderstorms or tornadoes, whatever, you had basically stable power. Did you before?
We did, except for the fact that a few years ago, I'm told by MLG guys, one of the CEOs tried to save money, they told me, and didn't keep up with the multi-million-dollar plan to cut away the trees from the power lines. He thought he could save some money, and then I think he's gone. Then when a storm would come through, all it would take is those trees to hit those lines, and your power would go down. So to be fair, the power did go down, but we found out later, according to the MLGW guys, it showed up in the big truck. I'm like, why is the power going down all the time? He said because the last CEO thought he could save money by not maintaining the tree lines. But prior to that, yes, power hardly ever went down. And yes, energy is very affordable here.
Yes, there you go. Yes, the reason these big data centers are moving to places like Nashville is because of your energy. Now, the water is a big issue as well. The Mississippi's right there. That's a good thing for them. And it won't cost you a lot if they suck water out of the Mississippi at that point. But we see the same thing in Phoenix, Arizona, and Mesa, in my hometown here. We had a very affordable housing. And as water costs were always expensive for us, I guess, because we don't have a lot of water here. But energy has been basically affordable here until they came in and started sucking us dry. So you don't see in California, you don't see a lot of data centers in California because there's no energy there. There's no reliable energy. That everybody knows the grid is just so fragile in California. They don't want it there. Texas is a good place because it has a lot of power also, at least it did. So they gravitate to cities who have lots of power where they can get their foot in the door, get connected to their power grid. And then all of a sudden, the rates start going up. The service begins to degrade, and there you go. These people will always reserve for themselves the primo power, not windmills and solar panels. They'll have all of the constant power. And you won't. That's the bottom line. You won't have that type of power that give you maybe the windmills and the solar panel, but these data centers, they can't risk 1 minute of being down. It would completely blow up their whole system if that happened.
Well, and of course, we can't risk being down over and over because it eventually is going to tear up the machines.
That's right.
And that we have in our control room. So we had to put in a generator, and then we had to put in bigger batteries. So if it does go down, the batteries kick in right away to keep the system from going down, which we're still not done buying all those batteries and doing that. So there you go. Now, I went and I put into Grok and I asked, what are the bullet points of the new Winning the Race America's AI Action Plan? They say deregulation for AI development, open source and data sharing, federal procurement guidelines. So they're going to update guidelines, prioritize AI systems that are objective and free from top-down ideologies and bias, ensuring government contracts favor unbiased large language models, workforce retraining. Now, here we go. Fast-track programs to retrain workers for AI-related roles, focusing on preparing the American workforce for the AI era. What do you think of those points so far?
There you go. This has all been about deregulation in the first place. How many times have we talked about this in the last 6 months? These people who are sold out to this concept of accelerationism, they want no regulations whatsoever.
So in other
from
words,
government.
the Memphis City Council is not going to be able to come in and slow it down and put in a bunch of regulations.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So kiss local control goodbye of your local community.
Yes, and that's from feds all the way down, because thanks to the big beautiful bill, states and cities are prevented from creating their own AI regulations. And there you go.
So that never got stripped out of the bill? I don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene and others didn't want that in there.
No, it's still in there. It got signed into law at this point. They recast the language to say that any state that wants to regulate AI will be cut off from federal funding.
So you can.
That's how they did it.
So here's how Washington plays it. No,
yes.
you can regulate AI. Yeah. No, that's wrong. What House and Woods are saying is wrong. You can regulate AI in your state.
But you're not going to get money from the feds.
But they don't tell you that. But they don't tell you that part. But
That's right.
If they want to finish the sentence, you don't get any federal money.
Well, they had to recast it that way because according to the rules of the Senate and the House, you can't attach a non-budgetary item like a statute to a budget bill, right? And that had nothing to do, state regulation has nothing to do with the budget in the first place. So they just, we'll make it a budget item. And we'll say, if you're going to regulate AI, you're just going to be cut off from the budget source of the budget with the feds, and you won't get your allotments. Interestingly, however, it didn't really specify what funds they're talking about being cut off. It was kind of vague. So potentially, Trump could say, well, it's not just AI research and stuff that you're going to not get cut off from, but possibly other things as well. Like, I don't know, maybe highway funds or some other type of funds that the government doles out to the states.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. Building American AI infrastructure. Here's what the next bullet point Grok gave me. Streamline permitting. Well, there you go. Overhaul permitting processes to accelerate the construction of the AI data centers, chip fabrication plants, and energy infrastructure.
Yes. I checked, by the way, to see how many times the word accelerate or acceleration appears in this document. I think it's seven times. This is a major point of this whole thing.
This is like a Manhattan Project for AI.
That's right. Exactly.
You know what I mean when I say that, the Manhattan Project,
I know.
Obviously.
I do. Exactly.
Nuclear weapons, nuclear program.
Yep.
I would just make sure the rest of the audience, they're smart people, most of them know, but for the younger audience, that's what it is. This is a Manhattan Project for AI.
Seems that way. Absolutely.
Energy grid modernization. Well, we need that anyway. Enhance the U.S. electrical grid and add new power sources, nuclear, geothermal, to meet the energy demands of AI data centers, projected to account for 8.6% of U.S. electricity demand by 2035. I don't believe it. going to be way higher than that.
It's going to be way higher.
I don't believe that number for 1 minute.
It's already higher in some areas, like in Arlington, Virginia. They're up at like 20% already. So,
environmental regulation, exemptions. Okay, public-private partnerships. There you go. Big government, big business. Collaborate with tech companies to build critical infrastructure, including chip manufacturing and data centers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking for anything else in there. Financing global AI adoption, national security focus, ensure AI development prioritizes use economics and military dominance with safeguards to avoid Orwellian uses of AI. Really? Really?
I know.
That makes you feel good, but you really think that they're going to stop that, right?
Yeah, exactly. You might take a look at that, the original document they had, the White House report itself. You have that still up on the screen.
Yep.
Look at the very bottom of the article. Go all the way to the bottom of that article. You'll see a section called biosecurity.
Yeah, invest in biosecurity.
There you go. That's the last item in this list. It's kind of disconnected from the rest of it, but look at what it's
How is it going
recommending here.
AI will unlock nearly limitless potential in biology. Really? How? What does that even mean?
Well,
AI is all of a sudden going to be involved in my biology?
Well, yes, it is. Look at the article, or go back to the report, and look at the first. I'm looking in my article here. Look at the sentence that says the solution to this problem is a multi-tiered approach designed to screen for malicious actors, along with new tools and infrastructure for more effective screening. Just think about this for a minute. What about the nose swabs that we had in COVID screening?
Wow.
And then it says, if you want to get money basically from the federal government, they're going to require all institutions receiving federal funding for research, scientific research, to use nucleic acid synthesis tools. That's DNA, folks. And synthesis providers that have robust nucleic acid sequence screening and customer verification procedures.
That's biometrics.
That's right. This is based all on DNA screening.
Okay, I just got to say right here, right now, what would you guys do? What would I do? What would you guys do that are listening without someone like Patrick Wood? Without a broadcast like this? Because I guarantee you we're the only broadcast on the air tonight doing this. What you bet?
Yep. I don't think anybody else is doing it. Maybe they are. I wish they would.
All right, let's come back to see what else Patrick found in this. We wrap up with Patrick. He has a whole article on it and linked to the document at technocracy.news, technocracy.news. And in that vein, folks, if you appreciate all we're shoving out here each and every day, I got to have your support. worldviewfoundation.com. It's the summertime. People are going on vacation. They're forgetting about us, but our bills just keep showing up. We want to keep it going for free. And you can even access this show tomorrow for 7 days. Or I could say, nope, if you didn't see it live, you don't get to see it. And put it all behind a paywall. I don't want to do that. I want to keep pushing it out for free, but I have to have your support. worldviewfoundation.com. We'll be right back.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity. all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
My story started with alcohol, and I had tried going to other treatments, and all I did was think about how I was not going to drink or how I was going to drink one more day and then stop the next day. And Katie had found a treatment. I thought it was kind of hokey.
I could see a couple days into it, it's like the light bulb went on with him.
It's an IV infusion of all natural NAD. It saved my life and my family.
We've been where you sit.
The hardest part of this is making that phone call and just come in and talk to us.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. WorldviewTube.com, WorldviewTube.com. By the way, Chad with that company just called me the other night. Chad's a good friend of mine. So is his wife, Katie. But Chad called me the other night, and he said, we're getting a response. Of course, he doesn't tell me who, and I don't want to know who because there's privacy involved, and I'm not interested in invading anyone's privacy. But he just said, we're getting phone calls. We're getting phone calls from people that are needing help. Some who have gotten addicted to painkillers. Some of them have gotten addicted to alcohol. Some of them it's family members. And when our phones are ringing, people are watching your show. And you know what, folks? We're thankful to have sponsors. And we're thankful to have sponsors that are helping people. And Chad had an addiction problem. And he went to a clinic where he got NAD and sat in a chair with an IV for 7 or 8 days, however long it was, 10 days. And he's been sober for so many years, and he's a businessman. He's a good one, too. And he wanted to offer this as a service and as a Christian. I can't highly recommend them enough. Logan, what's their website? NewSpringWellnessCenter.com. Maybe just confirm it. Put their phone number on the website up there real quick. NewSpringWellnessCenter.com. Throw that up there if you would, his phone number, NewSpringWellnessCenter.com. And if you want to use their phone number, call them. I think it's in the ad. If it's not, we can throw it up there. I can get it off the internet. But call them. Call them and just tell them, hey, I saw the ad on WorldviewTube. And let me go there. NewSpringWellnessCenter.com. All right. And just call them and tell them you heard about it and you want information. Here's the number right here. There it is. 573. They got a big, new, beautiful building, by the way. 573-693-1977. Starts with a conversation. And we've been promoting them now for a few years and have heard so many success stories of people that have gotten addicted to opioids, different medications, alcohol. And you know what? The thought is, some people think that, oh, I got addicted to alcohol. You know what? That doesn't mean these are people that are out going to the bars and carousing. Sometimes people just started out as social drinkers and it got out of hand, right? And we all have feet of clay. But when something happens and family members or yourself needs help, where do you turn to? And for family members that are struggling with someone that has an addiction, for those family members, it is so heavy. It is so lonesome because it's not something you just run around town talking about, right? So sometimes it helps to have someone outside of your town, your state. But even if you're not ready to go there yet, begin the conversation with Chad and Katie. They've been there. And if you're a family member trying to help your spouse or your child, call them. They can help you begin the process of talking with them. 573-693-1977. Chad and Katie. Chad is a very good friend and got a powerful testimony. They're strong, committed Christians. And he's been there. And it's because this program worked. Which treats the cravings, which deals with the brain. You can talk to someone all day long, but you got to change the physical urge to drink or to get the drug. And that's what they're about with this NAD and this IV treatment center. So 573-693-1977. Let them know you found out about it through Brandon House and World YouTube. Joining me is Patrick Wood of Technocracy.news, Technocracy.news. I want to go back to this White House document here. Anything else here you should highlight, Patrick?
Yeah, I want to talk about the authors of the article. It's on page 2. If you could go to the top of that document.
Yeah.
You'll see it right there. A little more.
Oh, that's page 1. Page 2.
You'll see the authors right here. See them?
Yeah.
Michael Kratsius, Assistant to the President for Science and Technology. Forget him for a minute. He's on salary, actually, with the White House. Look at David O. Sachs.
Okay.
David Sachs was appointed originally by Trump to be a special advisor to the president that has terms attached with it. He only had 133 days to serve as a special advisor to the president. That was the same condition that Elon Musk was associated with Trump. He didn't have any authority whatsoever, but he was just designated a special advisor to the president. That position, apparently by law, has to be terminated after 133 days. Musk is off the payroll right now. Well, he wasn't ever on the payroll, but you understand, Musk exited like 2 months ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What David Sachs, his name is still on documents. He shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Who is
searched.
Who is he?
Well, this is one of the co-founders of PayPal back in the day with Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. He was one of the founders of the PayPal mafia. And he's in charge of a venture capital company that's heavily invested in AI. He's also from South Africa, interestingly. Okay, so apparently...
I'm going to interrupt. I just looked up Wikipedia. Not that I trust Wikipedia for everything, but
yeah, there you go.
You can get most of it right with simple things.
Exactly. You can see what he is. He's a billionaire. He's a mucky muck. He's an arch technocrat for sure. But at this point,
he was the AI and crypto czar.
Yes. But now his title on this report has changed to be Special Advisor for AI and Crypto.
By the way, he's from Tennessee.
Different.
He's from he immigrated to my state of Tennessee from.
He did. Yes. It's your fault.
He went, Logan, look at that. He went to the University of Memphis. Huh.
Oh, boy.
He's a hometown boy.
Hey, here's a guy. You need to get him on the air.
I'd love to interview him.
If you could interview him, you want to ask him, why are you still on this report, this special report, the plan for AI in America?
Right.
And because at this point, his authorization to even be in government has expired. And I've done exhaustive searches, by the way. I spent at least an hour and a half researching this guy yesterday and today. He has no official capacity in the government at all at this point. He's a private citizen like you and me. And
according to the New Republic, Sachs is using his wealth and online clout to unite conservatives and former leftists in a reactionary movement against liberalism.
That's right.
So
in other words,
is he more of a libertarian? He's a libertarian?
Well, he's a dark enlightenment guy. We've talked about that before. Remember Curtis Yarvin?
Yeah.
He's one of those. And apparently he's still on the move. He's apparently he's self-appointed now to be the crypto and AI czar. Self-appointed? Really? Can you do that? Can you appoint yourself as for a position and some official position as like an AI crypto or broadcaster extraordinaire, could you just appoint yourself? I don't think so. It's not going to work that way. But if you're an arch technocrat, if you're a billionaire and you have interest in AI all over the world, apparently you can just stand up and say, I have something to say here. I'll write your policy document for you.
Isn't it interesting? He went to school here. The data centers are coming here. Very interesting. Talk to me real quick about the Genius Act. People on social media today are saying, well, we were all paying attention to the Middle East and the Epstein file. The Genius Act passed, and it's got central bank digital currencies in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are saying. Now, others are saying that they were going to vote against it unless they had a guarantee that another piece of legislation would pass that banned specifically central bank digital currencies, not just the executive order, but a law. Has that bill passed yet?
It has. It has, and well, not the one banning CBCDs for personal accounts. Okay. So
the Genius Act passed, but the bill that bans CBDCs for personal accounts has not passed yet.
That's right, and it probably will. But that ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. This has not been on the table ever since Trump outlawed CBDCs in January. This is a non-issue at this point. It's a non-starter.
How so?
Huh?
How so?
Well, we were concerned before about central bank digital currencies that the Fed was going to allow consumers to open a bank account with the Fed directly. That would have wiped out every bank in America. Who would put their money in like a local bank if you could put it with the Fed? This was a big concern, right? A lot of people saw through that. You can't do that. We don't want that to happen in America. Well, that's why these people, these legislators, this is what they're kicking against right now. But that's not on the table anyway because Trump prevented the Fed from issuing CBCDs in the first place. So it's not an issue at this point.
And the way it's going to work is they're not going to be the ones that develop it. The private corporations will develop it. And then
they already have. That's right. And they already have.
And then they'll pass it off. They'll pass it off to the feds to manage it.
Yes, possibly. Possibly that's a good strategy.
But why would they even need to do that when the Federal Reserve is a private organization? So why do they need to pass it off to the Fed? Why not let this be the way they get rid of the Fed? Notice all the things that Bassett is saying against the Fed, about the Fed, about the Fed, about the Fed. So when they finally do away with it, everybody like, yay, victory. But what you ended up with is a new Fed, a digital Fed.
That's right. That's a good point, by the way. I think you've got it. Are you getting the picture now? I think the Fed is expendable. I think you're going to see these technocrats are going to basically take over this move to rid the world of the central bank in our country, and probably it would collapse the whole system, like starting with the Bank for International Settlements from the top down. But that's another issue. We're just talking about the Fed here. But you see all this language now coming out just in the last few days. I haven't written about this yet, but I'm watching it. I see the trend. You have Trump talking about it. Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, he's talking about it. He's bad-mouthing the Fed. He said, we could just pull your charter anytime we want to. Oh, that's fighting words, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that went real well for John F. Kennedy.
I know. He tried to do it then.
So what do you think is going on here? Is there I mean, what is the Fed, what is the old banking cartel and banksters going to do about that? Or are they part of the game? So they don't really care. You're doing away, basically, aren't you doing away with, what's the word, Logan? Old technology is referred to as, what is that called? The old technology, what's it called, Logan? Like the electronic computer system, that's called
Legacy.
Yeah, but it's
legacy.
It's, what, Logan? Yeah, no, there's a technology. You say that's blank, but we're going to this. There's a word for it. There's a word for it in the technology world. It shows you that you're upgrading. And is that what the Fed's doing? It'll come to me in a minute. But is that what the Fed is doing?
Well, my opinion at this point, the technocrats have launched an out-and-out war against the Federal Reserve in the first place. However, remember all of the major banks in New York City, the JP Morgans, the Citicorps, the big investment banks, Bank of America, and so on. These are the banks that own the Fed in the first place, right? So if they see the Fed as being a liability, they'll dump the whole thing at some point. Say, we don't need the Fed anymore because now we have this new shiny tool called AI and crypto, and they've been complicit in creating this new system that's designed to replace central bank digital currencies in the first place. It's all, and when I say they're the major players, all of these banks, these big banks, they're all bought into this crypto scheme that Trump has been promoting. So where's the power here? Well, it's with the banks. It's always been with the banks, but the banks use the Fed to manufacture money. Now they don't have to do that. They don't have to go through that conduit now. So I think the Fed could be on thin ice at this point. I'm not predicting it's going to go away just because, but they're really on thin ice at this point.
Analog versus digital, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what that's called, Bogan? Well, that's old analog data, old analog systems.
That would be the dollar. The dollar's analog, right? It's one dollar bill at a time.
Mm-hmm. Versus now the new digital system.
That's right.
Okay, so does President Trump understand this the way we do? Or is he being told the bullet points and they're all the glossy, wonderful sounding bullet points? In other words, do we need to pray that President Trump sees the truth? I guess I'm trying to throw a bone. To folks tonight.
I would hope so. Because I'll tell you what, at this point, when the technocrats are done with him, he's in big jeopardy, in my opinion.
Why?
Because they don't like politicians in the first place. And if Trump has been a useful idiot for these people, he'll be excessed at some point. I think you were the one actually kind of floated the idea that after the midterms, Trump could easily be impeached.
Right.
Launching J.D. Vance into the presidency.
Who got where he was through Peter Thiel and all these guys anyway.
Yes, that would suit Peter Thiel. He would be doing a happy dance in his office for days after that.
And we'd be sitting here saying, Mr. President, we tried warning you. You weren't listening. Right?
That's right. Yep. Yep.
There are times I feel sorry for him because I just think he's not playing with all the information. He's not being given all the information. Well, we know that. We know that because he had to be told about different things on the tarmac by the press.
Yeah, exactly. He's self-admitted that he doesn't really understand the technology, but they give him the big picture. I'm sure he has that much. He can see the bullet points and discuss it with his advisors. But he has no appreciation for where it's going to go. Here's a guy basically doesn't use the smartphone. He doesn't type his notes into a computer like you do, right? He doesn't do his emails.
We've seen a video of him where he's dictating it to somebody and they're typing it up for him.
That's right. He's an old-fashioned guy. So he to say he's a technician.
He doesn't own a computer. I want you guys to know that. He does not own a computer, from what I'm told by a very close source.
Yeah, exactly. So, his
company may own one, but Donald Trump doesn't sit around with a personal computer. He doesn't have an iPad, but I think he uses it mainly for playing music, like YMCA. Which I'm actually kind of envious of him in one regard. I have too many computers. I got sick of using them. How is this all going to go down? Closing comments here. Go to World War III, financial collapse, hyperinflation.
I know.
How do we go to the Great Reset? This new system.
You know, we've talked about this business of scorched earth policies. At some point, somebody's going to say it's over. We're going to scrub the deck clean and start over. Nuclear war would do that for sure. A banking collapse would do it for sure. Probably economic collapse would do it for sure. I don't think that's probably going to happen like the way we think it might happen, but the Great Reset could be triggered, if it's not already triggered, it could be triggered by any conceivable catastrophe. You know, even an asteroid hitting the Earth, that's not going to happen, but some people are saying that could happen. So you take your pick at this point. I don't know what could do it. I hope we don't have nuclear war, because that would be so destructive and to kill so many people potentially. But you can see that happen, right? The NATO, the Ukraine, these people are all insane. Russia too. They're headed for nuclear war if something doesn't stop them.
Well, you go to Martin Armstrong. You go over to his website, Martin Armstrong. You know, he's writing about it. He's writing about this whole thing. We scroll up to the top. Neocons destroying our Western civilization. Came out today, July 23rd. He's out giving interviews saying that his computer models are showing that we are headed toward civil war, that at this point it's unstoppable. German Chancellor Merz on Ukraine, no hope left for diplomatic solution to the conflict. NATO wants to plant its flag in Asia. He's showing all these articles. What's that, World War?
Yeah.
U.S. senators propose to accept Georgia into NATO. What did I say? Civil war, sorry. Yeah, they were headed for World War. I'm sorry, not Civil War. Merz says Ukraine will receive long-range missile systems very soon. Of course, these are all old news stories. But he's making the case. NATO could take out Russia in 3 days, says a former congressman. this was back in 2022. Representative Adam Kinzinger. He's a moron anyway. But what he's trying to show here is that NATO is on its way to a World War III with Russia. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that could certainly be a reset situation for the world, right?
It could be. It could be. There will be pressure against that, obviously, because if the technocrats blow everything up, they won't have control at that point, because that means that basically the end of the internet, all is smartphones, all that kind of stuff that control people. So they would probably not want to have nuclear war or even an EMT type of a war. So, you know, technocrats have to maintain control, and it's all based on electronics and data centers, et cetera. Imagine what would be the damage to the technocrats, for instance, in Arlington, Washington, in Arlington area. That's where all of these data centers are concentrated at this point. They're all over the place. And if an EMT hit right over them, what would be the... Yeah, EMP, what would that look like? Well, it would be catastrophic for the AI crowd. It would bankrupt them overnight, literally. So they're gonna put pressure against anybody who would do that.
Okay, and then let me ask you. Tulsi Gabbard comes out today, says, you know, what she did in the White House press briefing room. Anything gonna happen with any of this? You're never gonna see Obama, Perp Walk, Brennan, Clapper, none of them. This is all theater, isn't it?
Theater. In my opinion, total theater.
For what purpose?
To keep everybody's eyes off what's happening on the other hand. Whatever it is, don't look that way. Look elsewhere if you want to see what's going on.
Pure theater.
Yeah.
Technocracy.
Distraction. Just distraction.
That's what I'm concerned about. Technocracy.news, and his show with co-host Logan House every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, I think. No? 6 p.m. I'm guessing. What?
Central, yeah.
6 p.m. Central.
6. Yes.
6 p.m. Central. He says no.
Faith, spiritual values, moral issues, government, economy, education, work, responsibility. What we think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon House.
Glad you're with us on this July 23rd, 2025. I'm being joined today by Alex Newman of The New American and LibertySentinel.org. And then Salen Duke. I don't know that Salen's ever been on with us for radio. He's been on with the TV. But we're going to talk about many things, including the 10 Commandments. Have you guys seen the stories about the 10 Commandments getting in, the state legislators saying, we're putting the 10 Commandments back in the schoolroom? And I'm thinking to myself, amen. But what are you going to do about the Supreme Court that ruled in 1980 in a Kentucky case that children should not be allowed to see the 10 Commandments for fear that they're viewing them day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, may be compelled to follow them even if they don't want to. The horror, right? So how will today's Supreme Court see this issue? But again, doesn't this go back to state rights, parental authority? Where in the U.S. Constitution does the federal government have the right to tell the state they can't do this? Congress shall make no law. That's the U.S. Congress. Oh, guess what? The state of Louisiana is not Congress. But somehow they've redefined that term to mean state legislators too. Again, I hate to say it, folks. I don't see any way to save the republic unless we start seceding from the union. I think the deep state is too deep. The federal government is too powerful. The agencies are too big. Look, I'm talking to members of Congress that are telling me they have no control over most of these agencies. In fact, some of these agencies have control over the congressmen. So I'm just telling you now, I'm not for a violent civil war. No, I'm for a civil separation. I don't think anything aside from that, we're going to see any returning to God-given constitutional rights being defended. And unless you see President Obama go to jail, perp walked, and there's other people, I can promise you the deep state is still fully intact. When that happens, then I'll start believing that change is really coming. Till then, I'm not buying it. This is all just buying time and reshuffling the deck. Joining me now is Alex Newman to talk about many things, including a 12-year-old little girl who I guess the government school wanted to convince she was a boy, and the parents pushed back, and what do you know? CPS was called Child Protection Services. He joins us now. Alex Newman, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much for having me, Brandon.
What do you make, by the way, of my opening statement here today?
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean,